You're listening to OMTimes Radio. The following is an encore presentation. Welcome to Joy of Business with host Simone Milasas, a dynamic business leader with a difference. Simone has founded and operated many businesses from a young age and has always done business differently. Today, Simone is the worldwide coordinator of Access Consciousness and travels the world presenting Joy of Business programs using access tools and empowering people to know that they can create business in a different way and make money doing it. Simone Milasas, weekly on OMTimes Radio.
Hi everybody, welcome to Joy Business Radio Station. You're with Simone Milasas, your host. And I'm actually at home, arrived home yesterday from South Africa. And I'm in Fijian Beach, so I can hear the ocean again. How does it get any better than that? Always love that sound. And today I'm joined by a friend and someone who lives just down the road from me. She's also a certified facilitator of access and a chiropractor. And it's Fiona Miller, so Dr. Fiona Miller. So welcome, Dr. Fiona Miller. I like that.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you. It was awesome in South Africa. I had such a good time. So this is the last show of the Business of Bodies for the month of it. And I must say it's been pretty interesting for me because bodies is one of the things that I have, throughout my life have not paid as much attention to it as what I should or could. And it's like, it's the place where I've probably found the greatest judgeable offense for myself. It's like, there's all these other areas. It's like where I'm like, oh no, that's easy. I can change that instantaneously. But the body's always been something that I've really had to use the access consciousness tools and make the demand that I'm using them. And it has been sort of like an area that I haven't found as easy. And Fiona, you've worked with bodies for quite a while now. So give us a bit of a background on different, give me a background on what you do and also why you decided to do it, working with bodies. Because to me that is one of the strangest things in the world.
I think I'd always been, very active as a kid, and I was an athlete, and I liked, playing lots of sport and running and playing and dancing and doing whatever I could with my body. And so I think it was a bit of a natural curiosity that I always had. So no matter what I was doing in my life, there was always that element where I was like, how can I make my body work better? What else can I eat? How else can I sleep? What movement can I do? Were always kind of questions that I had, basically kind of to feel better and to be better in my own body. So that was sort of always like in the background. So no matter what sort of business or thing I was doing in my life, that was always a priority, I guess, of mine. And I think I was always one of those people who experienced the world very kinesthetically. So I had to touch things to touch people, touch clothes, touch the table, touch the ground, touch, the world around me was kind of how I got a lot of information.
Right.
So I think a lot of other people, maybe they look at things or they hear things, but for me it was always, I didn't really know something until I got to put my hands on it and touch it and feel it and do it. So that was, so I think that's kind of a big part of sort of who I am and who I've always been.
No, go ahead.
So in terms of actually working with bodies, it was more of I wanted to know more about my body. And I was also, the more I knew about my body, the more I was like, well, how is my body different to that person's body? And what's that curiosity of what's going on there? Like, how is that person able to do that movement? And I can't do that movement. So what would I have to do different in order to be able to incorporate that? And so basically going to chiropractic college as a way of, I want to know about this, so I may as well spend all day, every day learning about this. So it's kind of how it started.
I love the way you talk about it because it's so I love talking to you, Fiona. I mean, I just did a session with you recently that absolutely kicks my butt. I was talking to Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, and Dr. Jane here about it because you just nailed me. And it was like, I thought I was going to you for a sore back, and you looked at me and went, well, I can fix your back, but you're going to walk away and create it again. So let's talk for 45 minutes, I think. And you ended up using the access consciousness clearing processes and the clearing statement, etc., and asking me all these questions, which were quite confronting. I walked out of your office crying, and not that you don't have to walk out of your office crying, but you might, and it might be a good
common,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, but it was, but it was awesome, and it's like you showed me such a different perspective of looking and being with my body, which is something, I'm not sure how we can do that today, but that's what I'd sort of love to get across. Because one of the things that when you say, you were interested in how your body moved, I just assumed my body would move. Like, I was athletic. I've always done, skiing, running, sailing, like just different things all the time, but I never looked at like how my body did it. I always just assumed it should. Like, I had this expectation of it rather than actually being in communion with it years ago.
Yeah, and I think it's that assumption that there's one way to do something as well. So there's always, like, when you run, you have like a natural running style, but you can run light, you can run heavy, you can run fast, you can run with the earth, or you can kind of pound onto it, or you can, so there's all different ways of even doing one movement, or has, 100 different ways that you could do it, or that other people are doing it as well. So yeah,
I mainly just look at watching people and are they running happy or are they running cranky and doing it because they have to. You really notice that difference. It's like, it's very rare that you see someone running down the street and you go, oh look, they're actually having fun with their body. Yeah, it is really rare to actually see that. And and it's always been something that I've kind of played with of, okay, I'm going to run fast and see how that feels. Okay, I'm going to try and make my stride a little bit longer and see how that feels. I'm going to put all my awareness up in my shoulders and see how that feels when I run. I'm going to put my awareness in my feet and see how that feels. And kind of, it's always this, it's like playing with your body rather than getting it to do something. And sometimes too, I mean, one thing I'll often do is I'll be like, okay, body, how do you want to run today? What is that going to look like? What energies would you like to basically embody while we're out exercising today? And sometimes it'll show me like a really, almost like a silly way of doing it. And that will sometimes like shift my head from what I've been, thinking about and concentrating on all day into this, oh, that's right, I could have fun with this. I could be a bit silly. Like, I could, do it different and create a different energy with my body. And then that kind of translates into my life as well. So create a different energy with your body. Tell me more about what that looks like for somebody listening.
Yeah, well, basically the body will, if you ask it, it has a capacity to kind of embody anything. So your body isn't really separate from the environment around it, and it can kind of pull energies from anywhere. Like as an example, one time I was scuba diving and I was under the water and I was using too much air. I was working too hard. I was like kind of flapping around a bit. And when I went up to the surface, the guy that I was actually diving with said, go down next time, look at the turtles and embody the consciousness of how the turtles move in the water. And so the next time I went down, I'd asked for that. Okay, what would it take to embody the consciousness that the turtles have? Because they're hard and they're like quite big, but they move like so gracefully and elegantly in the water. And as soon as I asked for that, absolutely. And as soon as I asked for that, my body responded to that energy. So
nice.
basically,
I like that. So actually asking the consciousness of the animals, the earth, and everything to contribute to you whilst you're running. Or I actually don't like using the word exercise, because one of the things I see is exercise. No. It becomes this like a necessity and something you must do. Yeah. Well, before Access Consciousness, I was like a demon. I was like, 6 a.m. I'd get up in the morning and I'd go to the gym. And if I didn't go to the gym one morning, I judged myself so harshly all day and would like punish myself with something in particular. And I remember like whatever, it was like whether you can't have this, you can't do this. And it's like your body I see is actually like, one of your best mates, or is actually your best mate. And treating it like that is so unkind and cruel. And I remember the first Access Consciousness class I ever went to, it was a taster evening. And I woke up the next morning and I lay in bed for like 40 minutes and I was just all these different awarenesses were coming into my head, and I didn't go to the gym. And I was like, this feels really weird, because I wasn't judging myself. I just felt like I had choice, and there was so much choice available for what I desired to do that day, but it was so different. And it's like, that's one of the things I'm incredibly grateful for with the Access Consciousness tools, is that it allows you, if you use them, to get out of judgment and not have to do something like exercise as this, rigid thing that you're, punished and ridiculed if you don't do it. Or it's like, what sort of movement would your body like? And it's like, ask it, what,
Absolutely. I mean, one exercise that I did for a long time was basically just exercises in an experience, I guess, was to stand there just when no one else was around, either in nature or just in my bedroom. And I just literally stand there and just say, okay, body, show me how you'd like to move. And I'd start, kind of just like swaying sort of from side to side, and then my head would maybe turn. And it's almost like giving some of that control back to your body, and also allowing like the subtlety of movements and seeing where it draws your attention to. Because I think we all have these kind of areas in our body that we just kind of disregard and ignore, like, I don't ever want to think about that, either because it hurts or because we're judging it or we don't want to know what it looks like or whatever. But it just really giving that power back to your body to show you how it would like to move. And it was amazing how much my body changed just from, rather than going for a run or doing 50 sit-ups, actually just letting it do like 5 little tiny movements that it wanted to do. Yeah. So
I love
people
that.
Can practice that.
Yeah, we were just in South Africa, and the last night we had this wedding and this whole event sort of thing, and, because I'm, one of the main organisers, I'm trying to organise everyone to go from this one event, like this rooftop, everyone's dancing and stuff, to the dinner where everything's supposed to be there, and there's all these things coordinating it all. And I mean, it was fun, whatever. And I was sort of like, okay, how do we get these people over here now? And time to do this. And people were dancing and having fun. And I looked at it and went, you know what? I don't want to go either. So I took my high heels off and put my champagne down and then just stood on the roof and danced. And it was so much fun. It's like this African tribal music, which, all this sort of, the tribal dancing thing is just such a, with the drumming and stuff like that, just sort of brings out so much of you. It was amazing. It was awesome. And then we all went across to this other venue, and then I still danced then. Brendan was like, hey, let's go home. And I was just like, let's dance. And it was awesome. But it was like my body was moving so much, but it was having so much fun. So don't forget, remember, ask your body, and it's like, what movement would it like to do today? What energy would you have to be? So we'll be back real soon with Fiona Miller and myself on Joy Business, and you're with the Business of Bodies, the last one for this month in February 2016. Don't go away. Would you like to make a difference in the world but don't know how? Do you think you'd have an easier time creating that change with or without money? Here's the thing. You have to be willing to value yourself and the services that you offer to start creating more money. My new online video course, Finding the Value of You and Your Business, is now online at udemy.com. Go to accessjoyofbusiness.com/Udemy special to get $20 off today.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The cutting edge of conscious radio. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Joy Business. Joy Simone Milasas and Dr. Fiona Miller. I like calling you Dr. Fiona Miller. It's very important.
Very formal and very important, yes.
Exactly, yes, very significant. So
exactly.
One of the things I wanted to ask you is, I don't even know how to ask this question, but it's like, I really like your way. I think you have a unique way of looking at bodies and being with bodies. And it's like, I noticed that the majority of people don't see that. And I'm just wondering how you can what you can sort of comment to people or ease people into more of an awareness of their bodies than what most people are willing to have. So if there's a question in there.
Yeah. I think, I know whenever I'm facilitating, the main thing I go to first is really what if, like, so if they come to me with something they consider a problem or an issue or a pain or something, is really the question of, okay, so what if this isn't actually a problem? And that space of asking, like, everything that you've made this wrong about this, or everything you've already decided this is, or how you're going to fix it, or everywhere you're looking for the answer to the problem you've decided your body is producing, destroying and uncreating all of that. And
everything at that is time to go deep.
Yeah.
So what Fiona's talking about is the Access Clearing Statement as well, which you can go to theclearingstatement.com and find out more about it, or accessjoyofbusiness.com and find out more about it as well. But it works.
Yeah. But the body really is like a conscious organism. And it's not, I think, what a lot of people do when they look at, so using pain as an example, so I've got back pain. People really do look at that and go, okay, how do we solve this problem of back pain, and essentially make it go away? And there's so much, in the way I look at it, is that whatever your body's telling you, from the place where your body's a conscious organism, is it really going to be producing that and creating that if there isn't some information that it requires you to have? And so without any point of view about what it's telling you, really going from the space of, okay, so if this wasn't a problem, if I didn't have to fix it, what information is available for me here with this?
So asking questions and be willing to listen to your body.
Absolutely. But also not having the vested outcome of, at the end of this question asking session, this thing will magically disappear. Because if you aren't willing to get to that information, then you won't actually change the thing. What I see over and over again is, yes, you can get rid of back pain. Yes, you can get rid of headaches. Yes, you can get rid of digestive issues and things like that. And if the unconsciousness that creates that thing in the first place hasn't been addressed, then that person will either recreate the exact same thing, or they'll create some variation of that same energy in another way, because the body's like, well, you didn't get it that way, so let's try this way and see if you'll listen.
So, which is pretty much what occurred with my session with you. And it's like, I'm willing to talk about it on here. It was really interesting because I had so much back pain and I, had surgery and blah, 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 all this sort of stuff going on with my body. My body feels amazing at the moment. I'm so grateful for it. But one of the things you addressed with me or asked me questions was my unwillingness to claim, own, and acknowledge the potency that I am. And it's like, and how I can be that, and not everyone can be that. And it's like the way you explained it to me and the way you sort of gave it to me was really cool. And it was interesting because we were in South Africa and we were out on these game drives and we see these 10 elephants, right? And I don't know if you know this, but there's always one elephant who's the matriarch, and she's the female, and she's the one that pretty much says what goes, like this is how we're going to, this is where we're going to move to, this is what we're going to, and you can see her, like she's communicating to all the other elephants, like get back, go over here, do this, whatever. And then Gary Douglas said to me, he goes, see, you're like that elephant. And I was like, you just called me an elephant. he's like, no, I'm calling you the matriarch. But it was interesting. So we kept joking about it all week. So I'm like, Gary called me an elephant. And he's like, no, I called you the matriarch. But I don't think I would have been able to receive him calling me the matriarch unless I had done that session with you just before I left. And one of the things that you were commenting on was saying, Gary always talks about, how much potency do you have? Like you have more potency in your little finger than most people have in their whole being. And I hadn't been willing to recognize that, and it's taken me years. And it's like, because I always keep expecting that somebody else can be the same. And it's like, and not making it significant or doing it from a place of difference in the sense of like, better or worse or judgment or anything like that. It was just like, oh, this is the capacity I have. And every time I wasn't willing to complain, I had this severe back pain. And it's like, and one of the things we talk about with back pain is, what are you not willing to look at? What are you hiding behind you? And it's like, and there's something else that came up in South Africa. What have you left behind?
What have you left behind? Okay.
Yeah, that was another tool that came up. So if you have back pain, and it's like, start asking, and it's like, what have you left behind? And what were you going to say, Fiona?
Yeah, what potency are you hiding behind you?
What potency are you hiding behind you that you're not willing to claim, own, and acknowledge? And everything at that is times of God's being, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. I mean, the best way you described it to me, this is when I got it. This is a mutual friend of ours. He's absolutely stunning, gorgeous, from Sweden, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person inside and out. But when you said to me, if you look at this person walking around, she doesn't sort of go, no, I'm not beautiful, and tries to hide it, or go, no, I'm ugly or anything. And it would be really strange if she did, because she's just this gorgeous woman. And it's like, but she doesn't do that. She is aware that she's beautiful. And when she's aware of that and receives it, it is such an invitation for everyone to be more in every single capacity. And that's actually what really got me to listen to you, Fiona, when you said that, because I was like, shit, that would be a devastation if this mutual friend of ours kept going, no, I'm ugly, because I love looking at her. She's gorgeous. And it's like, I mean, so are you. And it's like, and I love that beauty in the world. And it's like, so why would I not also value the beauty of the potency of the, matriarch elephant sort of in the world? Mm-hmm. So it's like, and that's what really made me start to look at it, which created so much ease in my body.
Yeah, and I think it's like looking at the body you've created. It is your creation. So there's something about creating your body in the way that you have in this lifetime. So you've created yourself as a woman of a certain height, of a certain size, with a certain hair color, with a certain physical presence. That wasn't an accident. Like there was some place where you made those choices and had some awareness of what energy that was going to create in the world. And as the example of the beautiful person, it's that person contributes an aesthetic to the planet, and her walking around makes you feel yummy and all of that kind of energy sort of. So she's created that, and that's an amazing contribution. So for everyone listening, it's like, what have you created your body for, and what energies are you contributing that you've totally dismissed and that you're totally not acknowledging, or that you're turning down to a degree that it basically hurts. So
basically hurts. Yeah. Destroying uncreated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to run this post. Yeah, great. Go for it.
Right, because they're fucking bottle 9 shorts, boys and beyond. And I think that is also too what a lot of the pain and discomfort and stress we experience in our body is everywhere we won't allow it to actually be what we've created it for.
So tell me about, because one of the things I would say is that nobody needs to have a money problem. And it really annoys some people if they have a money problem, because I'm like, and I was in debt, like a lot. But I got out of it and I've changed it. And with the tools of access, I really get that you don't need to have a money problem. You create, I look at money as you create what shows up in your life. You create what doesn't show up in your life. So You can't blame anyone else. And it's like, what would you, but you have the same point of view with bodies, right?
Absolutely. And I think there's this place where people think that it's driven by genetics, or it's driven by luck, or it's driven by, because it's like a physical, tangible thing, it's less energetic, and you've got to deal with what you've got and all of that stuff. But I mean, the reality is I've seen people change so much physically that they're almost unrecognizable. And that's not a product of them necessarily exercising more and changing their diet. They've been willing to choose to be something very different, and in doing that, their body has changed to reflect what they're willing to be in the world. So,
okay, so everyone listening out there now, and it's like, what questions or what tools or process could you offer anyone for going, I want to do that. That's what I'd like to do.
I want to do that. So it's looking at that place of what would you actually like to be in the world, and how could you allow your body to contribute to you being that?
Oh, I like that. What would you like to be in the world, and how can you contribute? How can your body contribute to being that?
Yeah. And everything that doesn't allow that, can we destroy and uncreate it?
Yep.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POC and POD, all nine sorts, boys and beyonds.
That's a great question. I'm going to use that for my Business of Bodies Zoom call this month, because the thing is, people don't they always look at the doingness. They don't necessarily look at the thing. And it's like, what would you like to be in the world? Like, would you like to be noticed? Would you like to, have more potency? Would you like to be more creative? And it's like, what would you like to be in the world? Would you like to be in the world for a long time? And it's like, what is that for you?
And an example I have of that is one day I was like, I had to do this photo shoot, and I was thinking, oh God, am I going to be all right for the photo shoot? And I woke up that morning and I was like, oh my God, I look amazing. And it was the future that I'd put in place, which was, I want to have these photos taken. And then my body was like, okay, you want to take photos? Let's look great. Whereas
nice. I like that.
If you haven't got those things in place that you actually would like to be in the world, your body's constantly like, well, what are we doing? Oh, you want to watch TV? Okay, great. So what does the body have to look like to watch TV and eat McDonald's? Okay, let's do that. So what would you really like to be in the world?
Yeah, I love that. What would you like to be in the world? And you can create that by asking questions and making it really simple. It doesn't have to be hard. So we're off to our next break, and you're with Fiona Miller, Dr. Fiona Miller, and Simone Milasas on the Joy of Business radio show. And don't go away, because we've got more, and we're going to talk about how your body can contribute to your business, and your business can contribute to your body next.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Radio Namaste leads you down the yellow brick road into portals of consciousness with the blue-collar goddess as your host. Interviews with humans who could be famous or just popular, and answers to everything are on the agenda. Tune into OMTimes Radio and drop in on Thursdays at 3 Eastern. It's a different brand of enlightenment.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Milasas, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Hi everybody, welcome back. Joy of Business, Simone Milasas and Dr. Fiona Miller, more casually known as Fiona. And one of the things I wanted to talk about is because I don't think many people sort of go down this road and realize how much their body contributes to their business, and even their business can contribute to their body. So I wanted to start by asking you, like, how you see that working with how bodies can contribute to the business.
Well, I think what a lot of people tend to do is actually they think that there's some kind of trade-off. So if I work really hard, then my body sort of suffers. Or if I work hard, I've got to stay up a lot of hours and I can't eat well and I can't exercise and all of that kind of thing, rather than actually including their body in the creation of their business for its actual, for its energetic contribution, and also for the things your body can actually do in terms of, the way your body looks can influence people. It can invite people to different things. If you're giving a presentation, the way you hold your body, the way you use your body language, all of that stuff, your voice is part of your body. And so in a physical way, it can contribute a lot. And also energetically, as a conscious being, it can also contribute if you're willing to ask it for that.
And what I also like is that it can contribute to you monetarily. It's like, I don't know, I just flew back business class from South Africa, and it was an old plane, so the business class wasn't as nice as what it usually is, and we were complaining about it, but we were laughing going, oh no, the poor people in economy would have had really bad economy seats as well. But I like traveling business class and first class, so I'm constantly asking my body, it's like, okay, what would it take for us to, create more money? And it's like, how many other revenue streams can we create? And it's like your body can actually assist you and show you different ways that it can create revenue streams. So everywhere that you haven't been willing to ask your body to contribute to your business, where you destroy and uncreate it, times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Yeah,
and I guess too with that, Simone, it's like what contribution is your body already to being to your business that you aren't acknowledging and you aren't being grateful for as well.
Ooh, gratitude. Let's talk about gratitude with your body. And it's like, so how many people, what's the most, do you see many people being grateful for their bodies in your business?
Very rarely. Yeah. You sometimes when people get through something, so when they get to the awareness of something that has been locking them up and that something actually shifts, you'll see that gratitude, like, oh my God, all of that was actually so I could get to this place.
Right.
But as a general daily practice, most people are not, I wouldn't say, grateful for their body. More tolerant of it and frustrated with it and annoyed that it's not doing what they want, but definitely gratitude seems to be lacking. Yeah.
Low on the list. So what are some of the tools or questions that you get that people could actually ask to start to change that? Because I do see that is the common, common thing going around. It's like not to be totally grateful for your body. Even people who you would go, in this reality, are like, fit and healthy and stuff, but they look so uncomfortable and not having much fun in their body. It's like they can hardly move just because they've got all these muscles. And it's like, that to me doesn't seem like gratitude either.
Yeah, well, I think, gratitude and judgment are pretty hard to have simultaneously. So the first thing really would be to destroy and uncreate all of the judgments. And if you, I think every day, if you could literally be like, you've got 10 fingers or, 2 hands, 2 legs, I can walk, like being grateful for the little things that are actually, that seem like little things. But if you consider not having those, because it's really, I think, too, when you don't have something, so like if you hurt yourself and then all of a sudden you can't walk, that's sometimes an avenue for gratefulness. For when you actually can walk again, you're like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I can walk.
Like all of those. I remember when I had the surgery and I woke up, and when they took my catheter out and I actually had to get out of bed to go to the toilet, and I was like, I remember going, shit, what have I done? you couldn't walk, and I couldn't, taking 1 or 2 steps was extremely hard, and I was like, oh my God, I've just had half my body, cut and something taken out. And I was literally I was like, oh, should I have made this choice? And I was like, oh, I'm here now. What do I have to do? Okay, what do I have to do next? But you do, and it's like when you can't walk and you can't, turn over and you can't get out of bed and you can't do all this stuff, and you're like, I remember going, okay, I'm going to, make these demands that I actually have a greater, better relationship with my body. And one of the things I struggle with all the time is that I travel, and I make that a justification for not being able to have that. I mean, I've been home a day and I've already, my body feels way lighter and nicer, because that travel thing is like, instead of having a shake or a juice in the morning, I have like a double espresso because we're heading off to class or doing something, and I'm like, okay, I need to change that. I need to create a different reality. No one's going to create that different reality except for me. So what do I need to put in place to create that different reality? And I'm asking these questions, and I don't know what that looks like. But I am making the demand. I mean, I leave on the 2nd of March and I'm going away for 7 or 8 weeks, and I'm like, okay, I can't do this again and come back and go, now I get to have my watermelon juice and feel good about myself. It's like, no, it's like, what can I actually create? What can I be even when I travel? And it's like, so everything, it doesn't allow me to perceive, know, be, and receive that. And this is simply how you can ask questions and you can use these tools. And I destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pop and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. And then I start to have a look at the choices that I'm making each day. And it's like, does that actually match the energy of what I would like to create in the future? Like, I remember when I gave up smoking, and this is years and years ago, and I told everyone, I'm giving up smoking. And I didn't realize till a few weeks later the points of view that everyone had, like either, oh yeah, sure, you're not going to be able to do that, or yeah, see this when I believe it, or whatever, or like, have you had a cigarette yet? And I realized that hardly anyone, I don't think anyone actually at that stage of my life was a contribution to me giving up smoking. They all didn't think I could do it. So before long, I was smoking again. And then I realized that I went, oh, I really don't have anyone around me right now that is going to encourage me. So I went, okay, I'm going to give up smoking. I'm not going to tell anyone. And I gave up smoking, and it was 2 weeks before anyone noticed that I wasn't smoking, and I haven't smoked a cigarette since. So that's when I realized that any choice I make, especially this reality, really doesn't sort of, doesn't entice you or doesn't encourage you to be or do, to be the greatness of you. People, unfortunately, do like you to have some limitations. So I've realized that, and I did the same thing with money when I was in debt. It was like, when I was $187,000 in debt, instead of telling anyone about what I was going to do, I started using the Access Consciousness tools to get out of debt, and I didn't tell anyone. Because I was like, I'm going to see if I can create this, but not tell anyone. So the same thing with the body. It's like not sort of going, hey, although we're on radio show now, but going, hey, I know you do this and this. But it's like every day just asking questions of going, okay, so what would my body like to be today? Or what can I be with my body today that's going to create the changes that I know are required?
And I think that's the thing when it comes to bodies too, is, I mean, in regards to everything to do with the body, there's so many points of view about what's right, what's wrong, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, and what doctor can tell you what, and what special healer can tell you what. And the only thing that will ever set you free in the area of the body is learning to trust your own awareness. Because there is nobody out there who can ever tell you information about your body that is more valuable than what you already know. And that's the beauty of Access, is really empowering you to access that information with questions and with facilitators and from the universe. But it really getting to that place where you trust that I'm going to eat this because that's what's going to work for me and my body, regardless of anybody's points of view. That's really the place to get to, I think.
So you touched on food. I'm going to eat this because that's what my body would like too. Let's talk about that a little bit. I watched Dr. Dane here, who we work with, He's amazing. And he's got an absolutely beautiful, gorgeous body. He's amazing, and you go out to a restaurant with him, or especially when we're at like a 7-day event and you're in buffet, and he comes back and he'll have a piece of chocolate cake with pickles going across it and tomato sauce and a piece of meat, and then things. Like, his plate looks like it's a leftover plate of things, and he doesn't care if that pickle is going over to the chocolate cake, whatever. His sense of taste with all of it is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I've always said to him, I think we should do a show one day on how to create the most amazing body by eating whatever your body desires. Like, he just loves the sauces and he loves the taste sensation of everything. I mean, he's definitely different.
I think the thing that Dane has, though, really is that joy of embodiment and eating for the joy of it, not for the what he's decided the nutritional value or the combination of elements that's going to do whatever he's decided they're going to do, you know. Like, he's truly eating for the fun of it and the texture and the pleasure and the hedonism of eating, rather than because he thinks he's supposed to. And I think with most people, I mean, as soon as you judge something, it's very difficult for your body to receive that as anything other than as judgment. So as soon as you're judging food, you're eating judgment. And the body is probably not its food of choice.
So like, you're eating ice cream going, oh my God, I shouldn't be eating this ice cream. This ice cream is going to make my ass bigger. Then your body it's trying to digest those points of view while simultaneously consuming the ice cream. And so you're creating... Well, you're creating an energy of judgment. You're eating judgment, and you're creating an energy of judgment. And so then, when your bottom is bigger later, you get to judge it. But if you do what Dane, judgment creates judgment. That's surprising. Whereas if you do what Dane does and eat from joy, then he gets to look in the mirror in 2 weeks' time and go, "Wow, that feels joyful." I like that. So everywhere that you haven't been allowing yourself to eat from the joy of embodiment, where you're just throwing on create it, time to go see, and right now, good and bad, pop and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Yeah, and the other thing that Dane does too, though, is his only joy does not come from eating. So, you know, he gets joy. So if you concentrate all of your energy that you receive in the day from food, then that really limits the way you experience the world and the kind of energies that you actually get exposed to. So eating is one thing, breathing is another thing, lying on nice sheets is another thing, exercise, you know, so there's so many different ways your body can digest and have access to different energies that you can actually use as fuel and as contribution, and it's not making food this one significant defining kind of element. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, because you're right. I mean, I've seen Dane on a jet ski, and it's like, or when he runs, and he'll run around in circles just for the joy of it, or he loves being in the sun, or he'll like wearing, you know, a beautiful, nice, warm, cozy cashmere sweater or something. So, yeah, how can you get joy from absolutely everything for your body? So we'll be back really soon. Thank you for joining us. Don't go away. I'm sure we've got more really cool stuff to say. You're with Simone Milasas and Fiona Miller, Dr. Fiona Miller, on the Business of Bodies on Joy Business.
Would your business and life like to be bigger? Would you like to have more fun with everything you do? Simone Milasas travels the world facilitating Joy of Business seminars. These classes are for you if you would like to create more money and joy, expand your business, and work smarter, not harder. Join her live or watch the online seminar from the comfort of your own home. Go to www.accessjoyofbusiness.com to register and for more information.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business. Join Elliot Jolish, the business therapist, each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern for the Elliot Jolish Hour, as he interviews business experts on your behalf. And you're invited to email your business questions to questions@ecjgroup.com for answers, live, on air every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Elliot Jolish Hour. Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back. You're with Simone Milasas on Joy Business with Fiona Miller, and we're talking about the business of bodies. And before I ask you a couple more questions, Fiona, because I always get to this stage and then the show's ending and I'm like, quickly, have you got any classes on? So where can people find you if they actually would like to book a session with you? Because I know you do sessions in person, which kick your butt, or you also, I imagine, can you do sessions over the phone and have classes on? So where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on the Access Consciousness Facilitators website. So you just go to accessconsciousness.com and then search Dr. Fiona Miller, and I'll be on there, my email and my phone number. And yeah, so I'm doing actually Access Facilitators. So I'm doing a bars class on the 5th of March on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, if anyone's around. But I do private sessions from the Sunshine Coast, and I'm available on the phone as well.
Yeah. And don't book a session with her unless you want to change something. Because she's awesome. She'll make you change something. I honestly, that was one of the best sessions I've ever had. You just completely nailed me. I mean, I came home and I'm walking up the stairs and Brendan goes, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And I was like, I was still crying. And I'm like, "No, I'm great." I was like, it's a session with Fiona. But it was great because if you're not willing to change something and it's like, what are you doing? And it's like, this is your life. This is your business. Yeah. This is your body. And it's like, this is where you're at. If you don't like it, the only person who can change it is you. So, you know what? That's what access consciousness can be quite confronting with all of that. But it's like, hey, what do you want to change?
Yeah, and I think it's that place of, sometimes you've got to go step into an energy that you haven't been particularly comfortable with to actually start creating something different. And so if you want to just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, or slightly altering it, then that can happen without you having to choose to be anything different. But if you actually want significant but change that actually is going to make a difference in your life, then it doesn't always look the way you think it's going to.
No, well, Einstein's, definition of insanity was doing the same thing and expecting a different result. It's like, so how many of us have been doing the same thing and expecting a different result, yet you get the same result, and then so you can go straight back in your judgment. So everywhere that you've got this continuous role of judgment for your body and your business and everything and everyone around you, truth, we destroy and uncreate it. Times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond.
Yeah, and I think you touched on this earlier, Simone, but I think with bodies, sometimes people think they already know the answer, they're just not willing to do it. So if I want to lose weight, for example, I know I've got to get up every day and go for a run and eat carrot sticks. And they've already decided that that's what's going to change it, and they've already decided somewhere that they'll never actually be able to do that. So you get to this place where you just, that's it, and there really is no possibility of ever changing it, but somewhere you use all this energy still hoping that one day it will change, rather than actually going to the energy of what is possible with my body, how could I create this differently, and really going to question and possibility rather than everything you've already decided is what's keeping you stuck.
Okay, so let's use me as a guinea pig, because that just sounds like my life. It's like, for as long as I can remember, it's like I've been happy, and yet I would love to lose 30 pounds or something like that. So it's like, but I do the same thing. So it's like, so what would you recommend? How would you look at that in creating your body? Creating a change?
So the first thing would be, everywhere you've already decided losing 30 pounds would be beneficial. Will you destroy and create all of that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. And everywhere you've decided what to do, what you can do, what you will do, what you won't do, and everything you have to do in order to create that, can we destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. So what energies would you like to have as your body? So in 5 years' time, what would you like the energy of your body to be, if it could be anything?
Right, and I go to the like agile, be able to move, be able to do even more than I can currently do. Like, you know, athleticism, like heli skiing and stuff like that. It's like with absolute ease.
Okay, cool.
That's what I would like.
So, okay, so everything that doesn't allow that, everything that you've already put in place that doesn't allow that to be a reality in the future, can we destroy and uncreate it on 4?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And everything you're doing now that makes that impossible or seem impossible, or that you've already decided is impossible, will you destroy and uncreate that on 3?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Okay. So what would it take to create your body as that energy? What choices would you have to make today and tomorrow and the next day that would allow your body to show up as that?
Okay.
And everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, receive, and choose it, can we destroy it and create it?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. And so anything, when you have to make the choices in the day about what to eat or what to do for exercise or how many hours to sleep or any of that stuff, or what clothes to wear or jewelry or everything, it's looking, does that match the energy of how I would like my body to be in 5 years' time? And if it doesn't, you might want to make a different choice.
Okay, so not necessarily going without or doing something that's like, because like I said, like that punishment, that ridicule, that judgment, it's more the litany of judgment, I should say. It's more just looking at, okay, so if you would like to create something in the future, that's a totally different reality. And it's like, are the choices you're making today matching the energy of what you would like that future to be?
Exactly. So the same as what you would do with money. Or,
I was just about to say that. It's the same thing I go,
or business. And it's going beyond the cognitive, because you're never going to work. There is no meal plan that creates that energy in the future. But there is an awareness of energy that you can work towards that goes so far beyond having to linearize it into those little tiny choices that aren't really conscious. You know, so whenever you go to, I should eliminate this, or I should add this, or I should, all of those shoulds and stuff are really based in this reality and nothing to do with the consciousness that we have access to and the energy and the molecules we can use, rather than the point of view we're trying to use to create a fixed point of view, as in I need to be 30 pounds lighter and then I'll have that, because that may or may not be true. Because if you could have that energy now without losing 30 pounds, would you choose it? Or would you prefer to lose 30 pounds?
No, but I think I'm different like that, because it's like, no, I just, it feels easier to lose 30 pounds is guess what I would say. But I don't think, I mean, I see people all the time go, when I have X amount of money, then I'll be happy. And I'm like, no, you can just choose happiness now.
Exactly.
Money isn't actually going to make you happy. So
you can choose that. So you can choose that energy now. You can choose to be it with every fiber of your being, and your body. I can guarantee your body will change to support that.
Okay, cool. Done.
If you allow it. Yeah.
I've had a really cool day today too. It's like I get the energy of what you're talking about. Because my day today has pretty much been the energy of when you asked about 5 years' time, what it would like to be. So everything is that is times it goes in, let's just try and uncreate it. Times it goes in, right, wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and girls. I know that there's people out there listening to this show now going that they want to ask more questions. I wish we had question time on here, but we don't. It's a pre-record. So, but if you do have any other topics or anything like that you want to cover, please email us at omtimes@accessjoybusiness.com. So that's omtimes@accessjoybusiness.com. And you can also, I highly recommend booking a session with Dr. Fiona Miller, accessconsciousness.com website, and look up Dr. Fiona Miller. She's based in the Sunshine Coast, Australia. But I mean, example of what Fiona just did with me is exactly how access consciousness processes work. And it's like, I am so super grateful to use my radio show for a mini session. that's literally what was just happening. So it's like, and if you find an area easy, like say money, I find money relatively easier than most, that's for sure. Like I never think it's not going to show up. Even when I was in debt, I always thought it was going to show up. So I never thought it wasn't going to show up. So if you find it easy, you have this like malleable energy with it that it's just like, and it comes from everywhere, and it's like, and you play with it and all of that. And it's like, so there's usually an area of your life that you have that sort of energy with, of what Fiona is actually referring to. And it's like the body stuff, like I said at the beginning of the call, has been an area that I have pretty much refused to have that energy with. And it's like, you know, I go, oh, one tool, yes, I will do that now and embrace that. Whereas I have all these tools available. And the questions that Fiona was just asking, I'm going to actually write them down and ask them again to myself, because they're brilliant. And it's like, it takes you out of a fixed point of view, because a fixed point of view will never, ever get you anywhere. It will not create anything. A fixed point of view will only create a judgment. And as Fiona said before, you can't have judgment and gratitude in the same place. It just doesn't work. So it's like, you know, are you, you know, hitting your head against a brick wall expecting to create something different by doing the same thing? What if you were willing to change your entire reality with the business of body? What if that was going to be your reality? What new reality would you like to ask for, and what would it take for it to show up? And everything that doesn't allow that to show up, where you destroy and uncreate it. Time to God's being, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all night, shorts, boys and beyonds. So we have about 30 seconds left, Fiona. Anything else that you'd like to add here for our listeners before we go away?
No, I mean, I think you just summarised it all beautifully with that willingness to be, you know, space with your body and no judgment, and truly look at what's energetically possible, is really where most of the change and the creation is really going to come from. So every question you ask will get you and every fixed point of view you let go of will get you closer to having that, basically that communion with your body that it's asking for, and that the planet's asking for as well.
I love it.